Hi, I'm Molly Stanberry from WomenOfWarcraftPodcast.com. I'm going to show you a sneak peek of a new service that allows you to have video conversation online. Today on the Lab.
How are you? Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here today. Oh, you're going to be glad you're here today, too. I'm Leo Laporte. This is The Lab, the place where we explain technology. It's kind of a lab where our experiments are on your brain. That's really not very appealing, is it, Kate Abraham? We have to think of something better than that.
That sounds a little bit too kind of complex.
We won't experiment on you, but the idea is we want to pour some stuff into your brain. That's worse.
That sounds worse, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, if you watch this show, you'll understand how technology works. You'll get to use it in your life. You'll become a technology master. How about that?
That's better.
That works.
That sounds good.
That works. Kate, where's my clip? Oh, it's way over there. The clipboard's way over there. I don't even know what show this is. I don't know anything. Hand me the clipboard, please, if you would. Thank you, sir. Now, it's your one job, Kate. No, she does many other things. This is episode 139, and we have Molly Stanberry, you just saw her a second ago. She's going to show me something that I tried to get an invite to, and I couldn't.
Were you snubbed?
I was snubbed. Thank goodness we have guests on the show who are a little bit more popular, and she was able to get an invite. So she's got me one now, so I'm happy about that. You've got a tip. We've got some shinies from Sean, and Tris Hussey is going to show us how to back up your blog before it's too late.
Wouldn't that be awful if you lost everything?
Do you back up your blog?
No, I don't.
Of course you don't.
And I've got probably about 3 years worth of stuff on there.
You might want to do this.
I should probably think about doing this.
Watch this segment. Whenever it's funny because I think we've all learned, maybe we don't do it, but we need to back up our local data, right? We just assume, well, it's a website, it's safe, right? No. I've lost many a thing on a website.
Really?
Back up, I've learned. That's how we usually do learn. Something terrible happens, so we're going to prevent that. So let's get to our callers here. We've got some great ones I see, and our first call today is
a Jeopardy winner.
A Jeopardy winner?
So
Can you phrase that as a question?
A Jeopardy winner. Who is Brett from Whitehorse in the Yukon Territory?
A Jeopardy winner? Hello, Brett.
Hello, Leo.
Oh, man, you must be super smart to get on Jeopardy.
Well, I think I was kind of lucky, too.
You have to take a lot of tests and stuff, though, right?
Yeah, you do. That's true.
I am impressed. I have my brother-in-law, who is the dean of a major university, can't get into Jeopardy. He can't pass. Oh, look, there's you and Alex Trebek.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm impressed. So now, here's the question.
I actually drove 700 miles to Fairbanks when they did the tryout.
Oh, well, you really wanted to get on. How did you do?
I won one day, so I can actually claim to be a Jeopardy champion.
That's a pretty good feeling. That's wonderful. And you won some money, and you got the glory of it. And for the rest of your life, you'll always be known as a Jeopardy champion.
Absolutely. And now it's me on here to meet you, Leo. This is wonderful.
Well, I tell you, I'm not as smart as Alex Trebek, but at least I can phrase sentences as a sentence, not a question. So give me your question.
All right, well, and it has to do with my Jeopardy appearance, of course.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that I preserved that in the best format that I could.
Of course you do.
So I went to my local cable company, and I bought a high-definition PVR, and I taped recorded my two appearances on that.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if there's some way to get a high-definition copy of, if I could pull those files off of the PVR directly.
That's, of course, what you want to do. And you know that they're on that hard drive in that DVR in perfect condition and ready to go and blah. Yeah, guess what? Hollywood and the networks are conspiring to keep you from getting that copy off, even though you absolutely have a legitimate right to it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they don't want you to, because think about it. An HD DVR would be a great piracy device. You just record those high-def movies as they come in over the cable, put them on a DVD. You could go out in the front of your house and put them on a blanket and sell them. And don't you know we're all just a bunch of pirates?
Oh, no.
At least that's what the movie companies think. So they do prevent that. And what they do is they scramble. Now, it depends on your DVR, but all modern DVRs, they scramble the data on the hard drive. So even if you could get it off, like take out the hard drive and put it in another computer and take off the file, even then it wouldn't be of any use. So, I mean, who makes the DVR that you have?
It's a Motorola DVR, and it actually does have a FireWire port in the back.
Oh, yeah, but that's just a tease.
No,
Doesn't do nothing. The cable companies do this. The Motorola makes these. Scientific Atlanta does the same thing. They make these with USB ports and FireWire ports, but it's up to the cable company whether they're going to enable them or not. And no cable company wants to enable them in terms of getting data off, because if they did, you'd be stealing. They think. This is why, I mean, it drives me crazy. No, we just, look, we've got a hard drive. It fills up. I want to put them on a DVD so I can watch the show later or something. There's all sorts of legitimate reasons. Now, the good news is you probably have some sort of analog output from that. Maybe you don't. It's an HD DVD. Do you have a component jacks, or do you have composite video jacks coming off of that?
It does have a component output, yeah.
Okay. So that's good. That's unprotected. So the best thing to do is to get that component analog content, import it into your computer, then burn a DVD from there. I presume you have a computer. I'm seeing you on Skype.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Seems like a safe bet, right? So that's probably the best thing to do. So now what you need is an analog to digital converter. Yes, I know on the hard drive it's digital, but it's not digital in any form that you're allowed to use it, unfortunately. So a number of companies make these. What kind of computer you have, Windows or Mac?
Windows.
Okay. I would go to Pinnacle Systems. Don't get the cheap one. Actually, we have to find one that uses component. So let's go to pinnaclesys.com. They make a variety of, I think, very good capture devices. We want one, ideally, that does FireWire. That's going to give you the best result. Let's look at the Pinnacle Studio products and see if we can get something that's going to work for you. The key is going to be capturing this in from the component. Do you have, out of curiosity, you have a composite out as well?
I believe there's a composite out as well, yeah.
Yeah, this is what we call the analog hole. Absolutely, there are devices like this one that have composite, as you can see, composite input. Finding component input is going to be the key, and I'm going to have to do some searching for one that does component. If, worst case, you do composite, it's not so bad. You burn a DVD of it. The truth is, remember, this is standard definition television you're recording, so it's not, well, maybe not. I guess Jeopardy's high def, isn't it?
They are high def copies, and I copied them off of high def channels.
Yeah. Do you have a Blu-ray burner? Or
I do not, but I'm planning to get one eventually.
That'd be another thing you need. I mean, to get the high def version of this is going to require some, expense. $150 for the capture card. Then God knows how much for a Blu-ray burner. And then if you can find Blu-ray blanks, they'll probably cost $20. Yeah, good luck finding them because nobody's making them yet. So all in all, this is to get a high def copy of this is going to be tough. You could just store that DVR until it gets easy. But you have to take advantage of what they call the analog hole, which is, even though it's digital content on that hard drive, you have to record it from the analog output. They can't copy protect the analog output, or they don't, in most cases. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to play it on your TV and things like that.
Right.
Hey, I got a question for you, though.
Yes, sir.
As of 2006, you could take a 48-hour ride between these two cities with a stretch on the world's highest railroad.
Yeah, you would have to do that.
I wouldn't have gotten it either. This is the question he missed on the second game. What are?
Beijing and Lhasa.
You know it now.
Oh, yeah, I'm always going to know that one.
Oh, that must hurt. I'm sorry I did that. We'll never ask that question again. Hey, I think that's so thrilling to have been on Jeopardy. That's very cool. And I congratulate you on your win. A Jeopardy champion, our first. I'm going to look and see if I can find a video capture device that uses a component in. That's what you'd like to do. At least get it on your computer in high def. You could store it there on high def. And when you get a Blu-ray or high def burner, you could burn it off at that point. But at least you'll have it on your computer in high def. And that's what I would do. You could save it forever that way. All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up, Molly Stanberry. She is going to show you something called Seismic. Very cool. Allows you to put video on your blog, on your Twitter. Free and easy. Molly will be with us in just a moment. Welcome back to the Lab. Leo Laporte here. Molly Stanbury is here too. She is from MacMost.com and WomenOfWarcraftPodcast.com. She's an online media guru. We're going to talk about something new on Web 2.0, something that I could not get an invitation to.
Whatever, you have an invite.
She got me one. This is actually kind of an interesting startup called Seismic.
Seismic.
What is Seismic?
Seismic is an online video conversation. It's a rather small group right now. It's all alpha.
As you see this, we expect it will be available for you to try.
As you see this, it'll be available at the end of January, early February.
So roughly around when this airs.
For the beta.
So you'd still have to ask to get in.
You'd still have to get an invitation.
Okay. So what happens? So you got an invitation.
I got an invitation.
You're in that small, tight group. How did you get an invitation?
You meet people at conferences and you become friends with people who have invitation codes.
See, foolish me, I just went to the website, filled out my name, and they...
No, I did that too, and I didn't get one. I did the same thing. You just have to find different ways.
Leo what?
Leo,
Okay, so you've got your account there. You go to seesmic.com.
This is the page that the viewers will see at this point, or so you're going to have.
If you sign up, not people who will see your videos.
No, I'm talking about any Joe Blow who goes
wants
to the site.
Use this. Yeah.
Who goes to the site right now. This is what you're going to see. Already have an account. Have an invitation code. I'm going to click on the already have an account.
So now we're going to go into this is the stuff that you don't get to see.
This is behind the scenes.
This is pretty.
It's bello.
So this allows you to record video in the website?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a camera on your Mac, so you can do that.
I have a camera on my Mac. Let me go ahead and post a video real quick. Do you want to record a quick little...
Really? Just like that, huh?
Yeah.
This is using that flat... Oh, look at that. Okay.
From Lab with Leo. So I'm going to put in the title. We're on so many different cameras. We're overexposed right now.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All right. So I'm going to push this big red button. You want to step into the frame? So this is us recording the video on the Lab with Leo.
Yeah.
This is, you might know this guy.
Where's my invitation, Loic?
He totally just spiked the audio way out of control.
Okay, now stop it.
All right, here we go.
So you don't want to do long ones on this.
No, you want to keep them short. My rule is under a minute, because when I'm watching people's stuff, it's like, it's too long.
So it should be. So this is kind of, you likened it a little bit to something like Twitter or Jaiku accounts, where it's a little microblog, a little tiny slice.
Tiny little slice of what's going on, just like a video conversation, and it's great because you can go, people in France, Australia, Germany, China.
But where does this go now that we've made it?
Now that we've made it, it goes to a public timeline right here. And
now, again, do you have to have an invitation to look at this?
You don't actually, and I was going to show you.
So this part is open to the public.
I could show you on my Twitter, if I have Twitter up.
Yeah.
It posts to a couple different social networks. Coming soon, YouTube, but right now it posts.
There it is. It posted it.
Yep, see?
Look at that.
Molly Berry.
So that thing we just did?
That thing we just did, I'm going following that link that it posted in Twitter.
And so you click that link in Twitter, and it will bring you to a site. Now, it's a very barren site. It just shows the video.
It's a standalone video.
Okay.
But there you go. There you have it, is the one that we just recorded. So this is us recording the video on the Lab with Leo.
Yeah.
You might know this guy. All right, so there's that.
Oh my God, I sound like an insane man. You don't want to ever see yourself on camera. Okay, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So can I put that on my blog, or is it just Twitter?
You can put it on your blog. There's a couple different ways you can upload video too. You can post a URL from like YouTube or wherever.
Now, unlike YouTube, it's not embeddable. So, well, on Twitter, it's not embeddable. Could I embed this on a blog so that I could? Like they have embed code? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, they do. Right here.
So you could embed this on a blog as well. So this would be a very easy way to record a short video thing.
And you can copy the link to post just standalone video, just like we just saw.
Oh, that's neat. Not that anybody would want to see that.
Right.
Okay. That's appalling. Appalling. I'm embarrassed. So why would somebody want to do this? Well, how do you use it, and how do other people use this?
People use it to have conversation, just like this. People use it.
So they'll post interviews, in effect.
You can post interviews. You can post thoughts, ideas,
like
debates. You can ask a question to the world, like, "What should I blog about today?" You know, and have tons of people. It's like it's funny, it's stupid, it's boring, it's whatever people are.
It's like a blog or any other web content.
Yeah.
And now, what else can we do? I understand that Matt made a message. Should we see Matt's message?
Yeah, I friended Matt. So you can follow people just like on Twitter.
So once you're a member of this thing, then it's like a video Twitter. You follow people and you see what they say. You see what they say. You're notified, and it's in your little. Is there a community? Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Greetings from Matt Harris here.
Bonjour.
So is there a community? We don't care what Matt says. Yeah. Is there a community? Is there a community of people now, like there is on Twitter, posting all the time?
Posting all the time, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And is there anything interesting, or is this just kind of silly?
There's lots of interesting stuff. People talk about, people talk about all kinds of...
It's kind of an interesting idea, using video instead of text.
To communicate.
To talk with each other.
As a woman, honestly, it's so much more helpful because I'm watching somebody talk.
You look at people's faces.
The faces and the eyes.
Some people are like that. They don't want to see the text. They want to see the face.
I think it's cool.
There's also a mashup.
Yes.
What's that?
There's a shows tab right there.
So people can actually do their shows this way.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's coming. They want to start building shows around different seismic users, people who are popular.
Like
really,
Veronica Belmont,
yeah, really,
she's a heavy seismic user.
Yeah, people who are really fun in the community. Right now they have a daily mashup of just like whatever went on that day. Like
I guess they don't feel that I would be a good person to have on that site because I am personally not as interesting as some other people like Matt Harris. No, Seismic should be open by now. If it not, it will be soon. And this might be a tool that you would use in conjunction with your other Web 2.0 stuff that you're doing if you're a content creator. Yeah. Are you using this now on your sites?
Not on my sites yet, but I'm using Seismic heavily. I'm heavily addicted.
You like Twittering type micro video blog, I guess. It's a whole new category.
How can I tell everybody what's going on every day, every second of every day? That's me.
Well, there are a lot of people probably want to know what Molly's up to. She's very popular, the host of MacMost.com, Women of Warcraft Podcast.com, and her new blog, which she just started, which is MollyStanberry.com. And she is Molly Berry on Twitter. And what are you on Seismic if we want to follow? Molly Berry. Molly Berry. Like Holly, but Molly. Got it. And why not E?
Right, and not at all like Holly.
It's nice to talk to you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, totally.
I have to try this.
You're on now.
If only I could get an invitation.
You have an invitation?
I know I like being like the outsider. I like to pretend nobody likes me. Even if it's true. Let's get a close-up of something you'd find commonly around the lab. This is it. Looks like a wax candle, doesn't it? Or perhaps a gripper of some kind. I don't know. What do you think it is? We'll zoom out and find out when the lab continues. Stay right here. Oh man, I don't know what that. It's a Christmas candle or what is that? Let's zoom out. Oh, it's an Olfa knife. Oh, okay. Obviously, I knew that. Thank you, Matt. I'll tell you, Sean is good. Sean Harris. I call him Matt Harris. Now I'm calling Sean Harris. Sean Carruthers is the guy who does that with his super duper macro lens. Now, Kate Abraham, I know who you are.
Absolutely.
Let's get another caller on the show.
I have Daniel, and he's from Ottawa in Ontario.
Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Leo. Thank you for taking my call today.
But of course, thank you for calling. What can I do for you?
I have a rather bizarre problem with my wife's PC.
Okay.
It's an older machine. It's always been very quirky. It's much stabler now that I've been using XP Pro.
I love quirky machines. Isn't that great?
Yeah. Well, it was worse on ME, Windows ME.
ME was quirky. Now you can blame ME for that, not anything else. Yeah.
She wanted a new keyboard, and she asked me to get her a wireless one.
Okay.
And so, since it's cheaper than remodeling the kitchen, I said, no problem.
Anything you want, honey, under $150.
That's it. So I got her a wireless keyboard and mouse.
Good.
The installation went very, very well.
Right.
The keyboard and the mouse work perfectly.
Yeah.
The problem now is the PC doesn't shut down.
Oh, that's interesting.
It does shut down, but it restarts immediately.
And it comes right back on.
Yeah.
And this absolutely happened when you started using that keyboard.
Yes, I tried taking off the keyboard.
That's the first thing.
The old one.
Yeah, and
it did exactly the same thing. So I did a.
That's interesting. So even without the keyboard, it's still restarting.
Yes.
That's good. You know, that's a very good diagnostic. Probably the first one I'd suggest. Let's see if there's a short circuit in the keyboard or some button that's turning the machine on. So take it off, put on the old one, but it still happens.
Yeah. So what I did is I did a safe. I used a feature that allows to go to a previous configuration.
Yes.
And it stopped doing it.
Aha. Well, I think it's pretty clear the keyboard installed some software.
Yes.
Did the keyboard come with a disk?
No, it's a Microsoft one. It was recognized very easily by
Oh, yeah.
SPE.
It does. Here's the thing. It does come with software, but it's built in the Windows. So when you first plug it in, it's a Microsoft product. Microsoft says, you've put on the super duper wireless Microsoft instead of remodeling the kitchen keyboard, and we will install that right away. And so it did the whole thing, you know. The little window pops up installing, now it's okay to go ahead and use your keyboard. That is installing a driver. Just because it didn't ask for a disk, it just means that that driver is already present. I would say without a doubt that driver is what's doing it. You said wireless. Does it have a wireless dongle or is it Bluetooth?
Honestly, I don't know. It's a USB connection in the back.
Okay, so yeah, it has a little wireless dongle. You know, it sounds to me like what's happening. You've done great diagnostic work, by the way. You've done exactly what I would suggest doing. Diagnosing a problem like this kind of troubleshooting, really is a process of elimination. We slowly eliminate the variables till we figure out what it was. You took off the hardware, it wasn't the hardware, so then you reverted back to an older version of Windows. That fixed it. So now we know it's something that happened when you installed this, and I think what happened is that it's that driver. So there's a couple of things you can do. What I suspect the reason the driver's why would the driver restart? That's a very odd thing. I would say it's a bug in the driver. So what I would probably do is go to Microsoft's site and see if you can get an updated driver for that keyboard, updated software for that keyboard. Have you looked?
I must admit I didn't look. I just tried to troubleshoot the problem.
Yeah. I would say that might be the first thing that you would want to do. Microsoft, so you have the Microsoft Wireless Optical Desktop Pro, is that what you have? Something like that.
Yes, I don't. Wireless Optical Desktop 700.
700.
So that's what it came.
Okay. I would. Not the best reviews on this thing. I would.
Quirky.
Quirky, yes. I would say go to the Microsoft site and see if they have updated software for this. They do have some troubleshooting results on here. Let me just see, out of curiosity, if it says something about rebooting the machine. You never know. This is the Microsoft Tech Note on this. How do we sign up for temporary files now? They do have a troubleshooting page which you can get at the support.microsoft.com site. And you see, as you can see, there's quite a few things that they have to troubleshoot here. I bet you clearly it's a software issue. I bet you installing new software from the Microsoft site will fix this. I'm looking to see if they say there's quite a few things that can happen to this thing. But I don't see anything about spontaneous rebootion. But that's probably what's due to the software. I would download the new IntelliPoint software. They put, the stuff that comes with Windows is not the latest. Get the latest one for XP Pro and see if that helps. That's a weird problem. You did I'm impressed though. You did exactly the right thing at figuring out what was going on with. Sean is the hipster. Have you ever had that experience with the wireless keyboard forcing your machine back on after you turned it off?
What?
Huh?
Huh?
He's listening to something.
I can't
Do you
hear
have headphones in?
I have headphones.
What is that?
In.
You look good in that. You look like Tom Cruise. Give me a big toothy smile. Tom Cruise, my God! He's here in person. So what is that you're wearing, Mr. Cruz?
Well, Mr. Laporte, I'm
Yes.
wearing the Oakley Split Thumb.
Oh, okay.
Which is...
I've seen the original Oakley Thumps. These look different.
Right. So what this is it's a set of sunglasses that has an MP3 player
It's not split
built
thumb.
right in. Split thumb.
It's thump.
I split my thumb
Is it
earlier on.
split thumb or thump?
Thump.
Like thump. Okay.
Yeah. So what this is again, it has an MP3 player built right into the arms.
You can see
and
right here on
and
its arms. On its arms.
And you know what the nice thing about this is? It's actually very discreet. This doesn't look discreet, but this is just the sticker that's over top, and we're using this for
you take
purposes.
that off.
So we can take this off, and then it just looks.
I
Let's
see.
see if we can do
Take it
that.
off.
So there we go.
Oh, now you just look like.
Yeah. So it's
average
impossible to tell that
ski
these
guy.
are MP3 sunglasses, except for the earphones that are dangling.
No, but you
down
wouldn't
here.
notice that. Yeah. That's very cool.
But you know what? When you don't need the earphones, just take them
Snap
off.
them off. Then you look like an average dork.
Then you look like an average.
Now,
Yeah.
let me ask you something.
Yes.
The original Thumps didn't have a lot of memory. How much memory are on these?
This one has, I think, about 512 in the
just a
model.
few
I have.
albums.
It's just a few albums. It's not something that you're gonna, get an iPod Nano's worth of material into. So it's
You could put a whole book on tape on it though, while you're listening, skiing up and down the slopes.
it's adequate. It's adequate for a.
And does it sound good?
Sound is really good.
Does it thump?
It does thump.
Okay, let's get your shinies and your dolls.
I can't see the screen at all in these sunglasses.
It's very expensive, $270.
Yeah, they're pretty pricey, but the good thing is that it does have a pretty discreet design. The MP3 playback is built in, and it does sound good. and the buds do detach when they're not needed.
And when you say no driver required, that means you can hook it up to Windows
Right,
very
it connects
easily.
via
You just
USB.
copy it right over.
Yeah, and you can connect it to Mac, which is what I used actually to copy things over. The downside of it, unfortunately, is you could lose the earbuds.
They come out pretty easily.
Yeah, they come off easily, and it does come with a little carrying case, but you could still lose them, and once they're gone,
they're gone.
forget about it.
You need a new thumb.
And it's expensive, of course, and as you mentioned, not much onboard memory.
But you left off one, and you look like Tom Cruise when you're wearing it.
Is that shiny or dull?
I think that's a good question, actually. I don't know. We'll put that in the neutral column, depending on your taste.
Oh, and shiny. These things do configure fairly well.
It looks like, you can put it on any kind of ear.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have more of your calls coming up in just a little bit. Thank you, Sean. That's very cool. First, our quick quiz question of the day. This is it. Where is cell phone giant Nokia based? It is not, as they said in Transformers, or is it? In Tokyo, Japan, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, or Espoo, Finland? Espoo, Finland, come on. Go to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it a little later on when the lab continues.
Hey, welcome back to the Lab with Leo. I'm Kate Abraham, and now it's time for our tip of the day. And this is a great travel resource if you're planning a trip abroad, or if you just want to be traveling abroad. For me, it's the wannabe, but it's the National Geographic Travel Magazine online. Fantastic site, such a beautiful site to use, very easy. The cool thing is it's more about travel than tourism, so you get to see more actually of the countries that you want to see rather than the beaches and the beautiful skies. I understand Leo is actually heading off to Cairo soon.
Yes.
So there's a great little article in this month about the Cairo destination.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's the nationalgeographic.com/traveler.
Yeah, I'm doing all the research I can right now. You've been to Cairo.
I have actually. I went to Hurghada and I went to Luxor as well. So
was it wonderful?
it's beautiful. It's stunning because there's so much culture that you just can't imagine you're actually seeing because it's so old. It's crazy to see. You can't get your head around the fact that this is so old.
And we've all seen so many pictures of it. It's probably hard to realize it's real when you're actually looking
when you're
at
actually
it.
at the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens in
can't
Luxor, it's amazing.
I'll put a bunch of pictures on my Flickr. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm really excited about
It's
it.
fantastic.
So let's get another caller on, shall we?
Absolutely. We have Mark, and he is from Winter Springs in Florida.
Oh, hey, Mark, how are you?
Good, Leo. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Are you a snowbird, or do you spend all year long there?
We're here all year long.
Oh, I'm so jealous. How can I help you today?
Well, we've got several computers, 3 of them actually in our house, and we've got iTunes on all of them. And I want to know how to keep the iTunes library synced between the 3 computers.
Join the club. So I have a very similar problem. My daughter has her iTunes account. My son has his. I have mine. Unfortunately, I'm finding frequently they'll buy a song that I've already purchased because they didn't know that we had it already. You know what I'm talking about. And you get duplications. So it is the Holy Grail. There are a couple of ways to do this. Of course, we share our iTunes library. When you're in iTunes, you can turn on sharing. But that doesn't really solve this problem, and mostly because my kids aren't going to see what's in Dad's library anyway. But I should just show you this, that if you turn on sharing, it's in the iTunes preferences under sharing, you can share, and it's not the default, share my library in the local network. Now what that means is that when the next time somebody uses iTunes on our network at home, it'll say, Dad's library, and they can play any song from it. They can listen to it. It streams over the network. If you have a relatively fast network, should be no problem, even wireless. You can play the music. It's just as if that iTunes library is available locally. It doesn't merge the libraries, though, so each of us has our own library. So that's one way to do it. If you want to have a central library, you can also do that, and there's 2 ways to accomplish that. Probably the best way would be to get a central network-attached storage. This is a hard drive that is not on a computer, but is just on the network, and put everything on that. You're going to have to do once, you're going to have to sync all 3 libraries, move them over to that so you don't have duplications. That's possible. There's lots of ways to do that to avoid duplications. I use a program called ChronoSync for the Mac. Are you Mac or Windows?
Windows.
Windows. There are programs like Microsoft Sync Toy that will do that. The idea being copy a file if it doesn't already exist on the network attached storage. But you only do this once. You get everything moved over to the network attached storage. The next thing you have to do is make sure that that drive is mapped on your Windows machine. In other words, it shows up as a local drive. You can do that from the Explorer. The network attached storage will be by default already be in shared mode. You know, you don't have to worry about that. But you're going to then select Map Network Drive from Windows Explorer, and you're going to say, okay, I want drive. I use M, so I'll remember that's media or music. You'll find that on the server, and you'll click Reconnect at Login. Now, every time you boot any of your machines, your music drive, even though it's not local, will show up as the M drive on all of those different Windows machines. It's one single network drive. It's on the network, shared with everybody. So now we've got a central library. You do have to go back into iTunes and say, okay, my iTunes library is not where it would normally be. You do that in the Advanced tab of the Preferences. You're going to just choose a new location, and that's easy. Just choose the iTunes Music folder location. In this case, you're going to say it's on the M drive, point to that, and now you'll have one single iTunes library that all of your machines are playing off of. Do you follow me on that?
Yeah.
The key is this kind of a device. This is a network attached storage. We've shown you many of these. This one is called the Platinum NAS from Micronet. And the idea is we have multiple drives in here. There's some other advantages to doing this. For instance, this can also be used as a backup drive. You have your backup programs run every night and backup files to M. It can also be used, because it supports multiple drives, it can be used in a RAID configuration that makes it more robust. If one of the drive fails, we just pull it out, put a new one in, and we don't lose any data. So your music library is more protected this way. I use a RAID 5 network attached storage. D-Link makes them, Netgear makes them. In front, this is, as I said, this is from Micronet. There are a lot of different companies that make these. They range in price depending on storage. Usually around $800 or $900 you can get a terabyte, which should be enough for even the largest music libraries. Yeah. When you do a NAS, you could also have the NAS act as an iTunes library sharing the music. But generally what I would do is have those drives mount automatically. That way when they buy songs, it automatically copies those songs to the NAS, things like that. Does that make sense?
So if I buy a song on one of the computers, will it show up in the library of the other computers?
Yeah, because there's only one library.
Okay.
So everything gets downloaded to that library and stays there. So you're all sharing a single library.
Okay.
All the playlists are the same. Everything's the same because that library is living on this NAS, which looks to each of those Windows machines like its own iTunes library. It's actually a very cool way to do it.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. It's a great question. I know a lot of people want to do it. It's too bad you have to spend $1,000 to make it happen, but
exactly.
You already got 3 computers. Let's add to it. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care. More of your calls coming up with the lab right after this. We're good at you spending your money.
8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2.
Welcome back to the lab. Time for another call, and I think we have one, Kate Abraham.
We do. We have Robert from Rossburn in Manitoba, where it's currently minus 30.
I don't even want to hear about it. Thank you, Kate. Minus 30, if you just go a few more degrees, it won't matter if it's Celsius or Fahrenheit, right? Isn't that minus 40 that they meet in the middle? Minus 30! Robert, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you inside?
Yes, I am. It's actually about minus 20 now.
Oh, it's warming up. It's spring. What can I do for you?
Well, I had a very slow startup problem a little over a month ago, and it would take from when I'd press the button there until my desktop showed up, it took 5 minutes there, and other than that, the computer was running fast and really good.
Oh, interesting. So it was only on startup.
Yeah, and other people said, well, check what's running in the background, and I did some auto-run stuff, and I couldn't really find anything obtrusive. There was no virus or anything that I could find. And like I had mentioned in a later email to you guys, I go on your site a lot, and I downloaded one of these icon programs that you had on there, Iconoid or something.
Yep.
And oddly enough, the next day when I turned the computer on, it was as fast as it was when it was brand new.
I love it.
And I I would like to know what happened.
Yeah, you narrowed it down. That's really interesting. So what happens on Windows is that in order for it to display the cache, the icons in any folder, and we'll just go into my computer and show you, as you go through these folders. In order to display these icons, Windows caches them. Otherwise, it wouldn't pop up in the way that it does. Actually works best with document folders. We just don't have any documents in here. These just wouldn't pop up unless it cached them ahead of time. In other words, especially on a folder with a lot of files in it, in order to figure out each individual icon in each individual file, it would have to spend a lot of time reading the disk. And it would take minutes just to open a folder. So Windows maintains what we call an icon cache. That is a file with all of this icon information in it that it can load very quickly. It keeps it indexed and so forth. My guess is that you had a corrupt, damaged, or just gigantic icon cache, and that's what was taking so long. Now, this isn't going to be true for everybody. I'm sure there are people watching who say, oh, my Windows takes 5 minutes, but maybe it will be true for many of them. There's a lot of things Windows does when it first starts up, including loading that icon cache. Now I'm in Vista, so I'm not sure if they still call it shell icon cache, but that's what they called it in Windows XP. Are you in Windows XP or?
XP, Home, Service Pack 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I would say it's a flaw in the overall design of the system. It should be something that the system should automatically keep an eye on and protect you against. But in fact, the icon cache can just get really, really big, and you should be able to flush it very easily. Unfortunately, in order to flush it, you usually have to run a program like Iconoid, or you can go into this is a registry hack. You can go into the shell icon cache key, max cached icons in your Windows current version Explorer, and you can lower that number or increase that number until you get it to do what you want it to do. I think what most likely happened is you had a damaged file. Windows tries to read it, finally reads it, and everything's running fine after that. So that Iconoid program or whatever program you installed, what it did was it blasted that cache out. You started with a fresh one, and boom, everything's better. It's a good thing to keep an eye on. There is a very good program, and I recommend it for all versions of Windows, called Tweak UI, that has a little feature that will just delete the icon cache and start over. And I wish Microsoft had made that kind of part of the operating system, but it didn't. So you have to go to, if you Google Tweak UI, Tweak-UI, all one word, it'll take you right to the Microsoft Power Toys for Windows XP, and you can download it as a control panel applet. There's lots of other good toys here too, by the way. But Tweak UI is just really handy. It's a great way to delete that icon cache. It's built into Tweak UI, so you can easily modify that. In fact, I'm going to install it right now on our machine, because we ought to have that too. Interesting problem, Robert. I'm glad you found the solution. It's one of those things that can drive you crazy for years. People will end up rebuilding their system just because they can never figure it out. And it could be just as simple as deleting the icon cache. Same thing will happen with fonts. If you have an awful lot of fonts or there's a bad font, it can take a long time to load those fonts in.
You like finding a needle in a haystack.
He thanks you, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Because it was your recommendation.
Yeah, Iconoid?
Iconoid.
Yeah, Iconoid's great. I tell you, for anyone running Parallels and they just go crazy because their icons every time you switch,
right.
Iconoid, ever since I installed it, I haven't had a problem since.
And it must be a side effect of Iconoid that it somehow changed the icon cache. It's a very strange thing. But
there's so much going on in these computers.
It is. They're awfully complicated. Now, it's time for another free file. Who knows? This one could speed up Windows Boot 2 inadvertently.
Maybe.
Maybe
but it's
not.
for Mac, so I don't know if it will.
Seems unlikely, though. What is this?
This is FF MPEG-X. Now, video encoding is a bit of a dark art. There's a lot going on. We've had Dr. Ivan Bayachin. There's a lot of things that are powerful that you, as a user or consumer, you just don't know how to do. Well, this kind of simplifies it. It's for Mac, and it's a download, and it lets you encode video. So what I can do here is I have this little video file here, and it's me on lab rats. And it's in an M4V format, which is for your iPod, I believe. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag it over here, and we're going to insert it, and now we can choose to convert it into...
Boy, that's easy.
It's
Look at all those different formats.
MOVs, XVID, DivX, 3GP. Now, you have to follow a bit of an install process. It's not the easiest install in the world, but there's step-by-step instructions. I'll point you there. Because legally speaking, they can't give you...
You have to get the codecs.
You have to get the codecs. They can't provide the codecs with this kind of skin. They have to. You have to install them. So, but it's
this is a program that's been around for a long time in Unix and on. It's an open source program.
I saw the changelog going back to like 2002 or something.
It's a great
like that.
program.
Yeah.
And some programs like, I believe, I may be wrong, but Visual Hub and Handbrake, I think, use these libraries.
I actually think MPEG Streamclip, which I've shown off before, I think it uses a version.
This is the deal.
This is where you go.
The real deal.
This is where
FFmpegX, and it's free.
It's absolutely free.
Where would I get that?
You go to lavwithleo.com, free files, Jules. I'll take you there.
Have you backed up your blog lately?
No.
I knew it. She hasn't either.
No, I haven't.
Nope, I haven't either. So maybe we better find out how to back up your blog.
I have a feeling it's going to be soon.
Tris Hussey will tell you everything you need to know as the lab continues. You stay right here. But first, our quick quiz question of the day. I should state this as a statement, and then you could state your answer as a question. Where is cell phone giant Nokia based? Tokyo, Japan, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, or Espoo? Is that a word? Espoo, Finland. Think about it. We'll tell you when the lab continues. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we asked you, well, cell phone giant Nokia is based. Well, don't make the mistake that guy made in the Transformers when he said, Nokia, the greatest company out of Japan. No, it's Espoo, Finland. The Finnish make the finest cell phones. There also is where Ericsson is from.
And
they practically invented the cell phone. Yeah.
And you can do so many cool things over there with cell phones.
And in fact, I think text messaging is also Finnish. So
I believe it is.
A friend of mine who's Finnish said, yeah, it's because we Finns are shy and we don't want to talk to, tell people we're breaking up with them in person, so we invented text messaging so we could send a message.
Great, so they started it. Yeah, it's all their fault.
Tris, somebody just got in trouble for calling in sick via text message, but then the Scottish courts ruled, no, that's okay.
Yeah,
you can do that.
You can do that.
Tris Hussey is here. He is the editor of Blog Nation at ca.blognation.com and is a pro blogger who knows all about tweaking and tricking out your blog. We're going to show you probably one of the least sexy, but the most important things you can do on your blog.
Very important. Now, I caught an earlier show where you said your blog gets backed up automatically and goes to your Gmail.
Right.
Well, I do the same thing. And before we get really geeky with just WordPress, people don't think about backing up their blog.
Well, isn't it safe? Doesn't my host back it up for me?
Yeah, well, they do and they don't. And the thing is, like your posts, especially for WordPress and movable type, they're stored in a database, and that might not be backed up.
Right.
Like you think.
Or you might get something that it's hard to restore.
Exactly.
Or it's backed up to last week, and you've got 20 things that you wrote that you don't want to lose.
Exactly. So, for your posts, there's really one or two ways to easily do this.
Okay.
The easiest way is if your blog this platform has an export function, you can usually export to XML.
Right.
It'll be one file that should have all of your posts.
So look at the management console of your blog and see if there's a way to export
Exactly.
your blog.
So I know Blogware has this, WordPress has this, WordPress.com, but Blogger doesn't have this.
Blogger doesn't?
Blogger, you can't export your posts.
Is there no way to back up a Blogger blog?
Well,
because that's a problem. I know a lot of people use Blogger.
Exactly. Now, you can say, I will...
And you trust Blogger that maybe they're going to be backing it up
but
for
still,
you.
you could write a post that completely scours your blog. It's not hard to do. I'm sure you've done it. I've left an open HTML tag and the whole thing, and you have to delete the post or something. I found this service called Blog Backup Online. It's in beta, just like everything else, but it's a free account. You get about 50 megs of storage. You can add in your blog, WordPress, Blogger, whatever, and it goes in and backs up all the posts for you.
And the key is it does it automatically.
And it does it automatically every night. You can download that as an export file.
See, sure, you can export by hand, but nobody ever does.
No one ever does.
You need something that does it without your intervention.
Exactly. And that's what, you can't always trust that your host is going to be backing it up, their Blogger isn't going to die on you, or if you want to move your blog. If you want to move your blog from Blogger to something real, then you need a copy of those posts.
I used Blog Backup Online to move my Vox blog to WordPress. There was no export in Vox, just like there is in Blogger, but I was able to get it backed up into Blog Backup Online and then output as RSS, which I could then import into WordPress, and it actually worked pretty well.
It works very nice.
I got all my files.
Exactly, and all the comments, they should all be there.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the next thing that you should back up, your template.
Oh, yeah, because you put some work into designing it, right?
How many tweaks have you put on your templates? Yeah, me too. So For Blogger, they have everything in one file.
So you can just copy it.
You can just copy it, and they've now improved it so there's a little link when you go into edit the HTML. Assuming if you're getting geeky with your template, you might want to download a copy first.
Right.
That's where you go.
Yeah.
For WordPress, you're going to have to FTP in. And remember what into the themes directory, which is usually wherever your blog root is, /WP content /themes, and then pull down the theme that you.
It's not a bad idea to periodically copy the whole WP content folder, because that has uploads of images, it has themes, it has all your plugins. So that is the one big customization most people do to WordPress. If you get that whole folder, you're actually pretty good.
You're pretty good, but here's the last thing for WordPress. You and I both use this. We're actually on your blog.
I love this.
WP Backup. I love this.
It's a plugin.
It's a plugin for WordPress, and it will and it automatically backs up your blog for you, like you.
You can see that once daily I email it to myself.
And I do the same thing. Once daily I get an email from there.
You notice I don't include all the tables. There's stuff in there that I don't really want to keep, logins and so forth, but I keep all of my posts, and that's the most important thing.
And some of the other things you might want to back up your OpenID things, maybe your PodPress stats.
Depends if you use it. I have that there, but I don't use PodPress.
Yeah.
So
but
things like
the
that.
important things, which are the comments, the links, the options. Now, what this is doing is making a copy of the database. And this is if something goes really south, you're going to have to get geeky with importing your database through SQL. But you know what? If you've really gone that south, I'm sure your
somebody
house
will
help you out.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard.
It's not such a big deal. It's a simple MySQL command. The most important thing is do the backup. If the worst happens, then you can worry about getting it restored.
And so you're ready for disaster, or if you want to move.
Yeah. Very important.
Very, very important.
Yeah, it was a big deal for me because I have blog posts in 7 or 8 different engines, and I really I just want one place, and I want it somewhere that I can keep it forever. Because I know, 20 years I might want to look back on my life and say, boy, I wasted a lot of time.
Why was I blogging that? Why was I blogging that? What does it matter?
Why was I writing that down? So then I'll be able to, because I have it all backed up.
There you go.
Hey, thank you, Tris. Really great to talk to you. Look for Tris on Blog Nation. It's ca.blognation.com, and his own website, which is
Larix Consulting.
LARIX Consulting. Thank you.
That should be a quiz question. What larynx actually is?
What is a larynx? Not a larynx.
Not a larynx.
Is it a kind of bug? It's a tree. Who knew? What kind of tree? A good tree?
It's a larch tree.
It's a larch.
Yeah.
And you just like that tree?
It's the only deciduous conifer.
There you go. Name a deciduous conifer. What is a larynx? We'll have final words for you right after this. Stay right here. Kind of a create your own content online show, but we talk about that a lot, and I like to talk about it because I think that's one of the most exciting things about technology.
Absolutely.
Getting to publish yourself, right?
Completely.
Yeah. You're starting to like this video blog thing, aren't you?
I'm feeling a lot more confident with it, yes.
She likes it? She's loving it. Where is Kate's blog?
It is at labwithleo.com/Kate/blog.
And you can also go there and fill out that form if you have a question for us.
Questions.
Yeah, we'd love to get you on this show. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time on The Lab. Bye-bye.